Hello, beautiful souls of infinite, boundless potential. I went to the gym this morning and then I met with a beautiful, beautiful human who, what I teach and the movement of the energy through the body, the releasing, kind of the point of no return, the final track, if you will. She works in the field where they have the science to show it. And so we are hoping to create something magical. But I have been sitting with, or I should say, I have been sitting with this role of, I've been trying to teach. And what if I shift my focus in leadership? And how would that shift in my mind or in my body, in my heart? And knowing that I'm ready and leading by example, and what that looks like for me, to be honest. So I thought that I would get on here and just kind of go through the processes of how I could potentially open myself up, how we can open ourselves up to a new role. And that's not to say that yours is a leadership role. Maybe you're looking for a new job. Maybe you're closing a chapter in a relationship or in a friendship. Maybe you are looking to start new things, new creative inspiration, or writing or singing or music or building, whatever it is. And it could potentially cause some friction in the body of the old, where we're like, wait a minute, what does this mean for me? And do I need to be afraid? Or do I have self-doubt? Do I have worry around it? And so really it's about being honest with all the emotions that can surface. And I can be honest now more than ever. I am like giddiness with excitement for this path, for my personal journey and how far I've come and how I've learned to really honor the truth of what I feel and setting parameters around that. And yeah, just being honest with myself, not abandoning myself for my truth, not abandoning myself for what I feel is necessary for me, with also the intention of moving through and not staying stuck. And so I can speak of it honestly, how if I wasn't aware that the rest and recovery phase of the grieving that I have allowed myself to feel, it's really the grieving of my old world, my old life, my old identity, my old everything. And oh, wow, I can see it now, has allowed me to emerge into the presence of who I was actually put here to be. And so I will take it back to the grieving aspect of it. The grieving for me started when I found my aunt overdosed. And in that slew of 2019 to 2020, found my aunt overdosed on our move out date, which is what kind of shoved me into my awakening. I've talked about this in other videos before, but since you're here, I'll give you like the little snippet. Right after that series of events, this was my birthday, November 13th. So August, September, October, November. And it was kind of like a shift of just really not even being in any state of presence at all. It just felt like my whole body just got shook upside down. And my 14-year-old male cat, we found him with a blood clot in his spine under the bed. And 5 days later, we lost him. So we were sitting with him during that time where you can't do anything. And the tears that came with that. Then because I had moved out of my place, I was living with Kelly in his apartment. We're actively looking for houses. And his apartment wouldn't allow cats to be there. And I tried to explain this to the landlord, like it's really, really temporary. I understand if they have a strict no animal policy. However, I had seen people walking their dogs in the same apartment complex. That's neither here nor there. I'm grateful the way it all worked out. They actually came in and they had found Sassy one day, which was the female, the sister of the male. And and I had looked to try to find a family member to watch her until we could figure something out. Nobody would. And so when they came in and they found her, we came home on a Saturday after Thanksgiving. And so the Thanksgiving conversation of, please, will somebody watch her while we figure this out? And I can see now where it was boundaries for everyone that I was asking, and I can respect that. However, in the time being, it made no sense to me. So we came home to an eviction notice, and it was something in that space. So when I found my aunt overdosed, I made a quiet promise to myself: you lead, I'll follow, and I'm listening every step of the way, because I've not figured out something. I haven't done something right. That takes me back to 2012 when we had a huge, if you're here with me, you probably know what I'm talking about, and you were probably aware, where it was like a massive, some type of catastrophic event, the return, the everything, and then remember, nothing happened. So in 2012, I remember thinking, I missed something. There's something that I wasn't aware of, because this buildup and this buildup and this buildup for then nothing. And I remember going, I'm not going to miss the next one. I'm not going to miss the next one. So it was almost like these silent promises I had been making to myself. So seeing her overdosed, and I said, you lead, I'll follow. Well, then after that, it was just this buildup and accumulation of worry and doubt and fear, and all of these things just like riddled my mind. And we found that eviction notice, and I remember like staring Kelly in the eye saying, I choose not to worry from this point moving forward. I choose to know that we are going to be protected. We are going to be guided. We are going to be held. We have family and friends that love us and support us and that will help us along the way. So I choose not to worry. And so even in that space, recognizing within myself that I was making the conscious choice, once again, little did I know that 2020, everything would shut down. And so then losing my job, and I say losing, it was almost like a letting go of things that I just weren't in my highest and best good any longer, but they were comfortable for me. And so losing my job, and then a couple years later, my aunt, who I had found overdosed, and she kind of helped raise me, really. So there was a lot of big relationship mending that I needed to do there. Also, I had lost my grandparents, and I never really allowed myself to, I didn't know how to grieve, honestly. I just didn't know how to feel the things. I was going through the motions without feeling anything, and feeling anything is where, if you can think of this being of yourself, where when you go through some trauma or catastrophic event or anything, and it doesn't matter what we're talking about, because it is all, if it's a grain of sand and it's that minuscule to make you feel something, or if it is giant and huge and big, it's essentially like the scar of our body just separates us completely. And it makes us feel separated. It makes us feel alone. It makes us feel isolated. It makes us feel like nobody understands. And this could also be like the reconvergence of not only ourselves, but the greater good of humanity coming back together, united as one. But it's almost like if you're going through the motions and you're just going through them, you're not feeling anything. But the only way to literally mend your body back together is to feel the roller coaster of the emotions. And then the more that you begin to feel them, the less that pendulum swings, and the slower that pendulum swings, until everything basically is like a streamline of everything's accounted for, everything is beautiful, there's nothing in the way anymore. It is on the track, the path of the straight and narrow, because that scar has been mended. And then even in that space, mending the scar of the full body to where everything can just like flood the whole vessel without being separate. And it just fills us up with so much love. So I could look back honestly and say, I am eternally grateful for this process. And then it goes back into the energy of, while I was in this state of remembering who I was and really pulling myself back together, because my truth is what kept me separated. So once I started speaking my truth, that kind of caused some discomfort for other people. And so that caused other people to move away from me. But then that also, in my unaware mind, made me feel like I was doing something wrong. And I remember the first time that I really stood my ground and I chose my worth and I chose my well-being over somebody else's in my truth. And it felt awful because everyone seemed to be mad at me. And I'm like, this feels awful. Like, what is this? However, when you as a caregiver or as the one that just kind of holds it all together decides, I'm done, and everybody needs to figure it out on their own, but I'm not going to be the one that holds it all together, because that just feels like a massive tug of war all over the place. And so once I let that go, it was almost as if everyone else had to start taking accountability for the things that they were relying on me to do. And that's not to say that I haven't done the same on other people when I needed help, and then that needing help in the moment has turned into a relying on somebody to help me when I'm like, no, I've got to help myself. I've got to do this for me, which leads me to my next expansion, is starting my Patreon. And if you have any thoughts around this, because I have my website, I want to work on an app, but I am going with Patreon because I want to get something rolling where I can build a community where I'm actually making money, but it's not, you're not paying for a one-on-one, but you still get my services, my meditations, you still get some deeper transmissions. And then I can give, different exercises, workouts, dietary, not really talk, but just healthy recipes, because I love cooking that, and because my background is in personal training and nutrition, and now because my soul alignment is there, it's like the full completion spectrum of light, that the totality of me. And I'm honored to be able to talk about this, but also primarily it's really about diving into the work that has been given to me with honoring the emotion and teaching us how to honor each and every emotion, energy in motion, and how to honor it with love, so that there's no tug of war. It's just love is all encompassing and it's whole and beautiful, and there's no separation. So all of these things happened, and then because I found myself with no money, no family, and really I'm not saying I don't have friends, I'm just saying that a lot of the people that you're around, when you start to talk about truth makes people very, very uncomfortable. So you find yourself where you don't have a whole lot of people to talk about. So then you continuously find yourself alone over and over and over again until there's no more part of you that is alone, because you have connected back into the masterful creation, our DNA of all that is. And once we've connected back into that space, it's just like there's no going back. It is the totality of the old version of ourselves, and the grieving. I was grieving my own life. I was grieving my own path. I was grieving my journey. I was grieving my feelings. I was grieving the death of the old me. I was grieving all of those things so that I could be really set in motion in life, in love, in freedom, in abundance, in prosperity, in the win-win, where you can have it all. It can be all. And being able to lead in that way. And so to bring this full spectrum, asking myself as a leader, what would that look like? And really just putting myself out there and saying, hey, if you want somebody to teach this and lead and to tell a story around it, to give living examples, I'm ready. Put me in. And do I have a slight worry around how am I going to make money around this? Yes, but I also know and trust bigger than ever that I'm going to be offered, because I'm ready to receive, I'm going to be offered amounts that just blow me out of the water, because we need these teachings so much. We need this information so much. And I honestly am just honored that I open myself up to receive this information. And everybody can. It's just recognizing our blocks, recognizing where we close ourselves off and we close the door out of safety and protection, because we've gone through something that we might not want to feel again. But then that still remains is if you're blocking yourself because you don't want to feel something again, then you're also blocking yourself from receiving new insight, new inspiration, new anything along your path to help propel you into the direction that is in alignment for our highest and best good and the highest good of all. So and once that track, I'm seeing like a train track of once we have woven back and forth within our body through the emotion, right, left, and because of that, it is an as within, so without, because you're honoring the external, feeling the internal, and so you're merging this playing field as well, merging this playing field here. And so then it's like the whole plane of existence just gets elevated, because simultaneously, I'm hoping you're following my vision. You're crying tears through every recognition and through every remembrance that just fills your cup even more. So then the whole four corners of the playing field just elevate. It's like a platform. The platform has nothing else to do but to elevate. And so when you're here, and it's like we push through where we are connected to the soul essence, the soul remembrance, everything that we are, the original blueprint. We've anchored so far into our truth and our depth that there is no darkness that we're afraid of, because we've met ourselves in all of it. That is the miraculous, that is who we are and who we were put here to be. And wow, this vision is just so incredibly gorgeous, especially after the last transmission that I delivered with the big tree. I think I've posted it. I hope I posted it. If not, I will. And I will tag it, or I will tag, if I haven't posted it and I post this first, I'll tag that video, if that makes sense. Yeah. Regardless, it'll be there. And then, but I had seen the vision of, because we've grown up so much, now our heads are like above the clouds. The body is the bridge and we're anchored in fully. And then our heads are above the clouds and we're like, well, hi guys, what are y'all doing here? And so that vision was just last week, which normally these magnitude impactful visions for the collective, are a little bit more spaced out, where we're having these wow, aha moments. But time is so instant. It is instant. It's instant. So, it's like I'm being supercharged right now, my whole body. We believe, we know, we are. I am. Yes, yes, yes. The receivers. We have been humbled down to our knees. And that's where, when it says every knee shall bow, and this is where I love so much, because there are verses that have been given to me throughout this thing. But when you think of Yeshua and Mary Magdalene, the divine counterparts of the masculine and the feminine, if their leadership and if their guidance was to bring us together into an immaculate conception and an immaculate rebirth, and that was the premise of the teachings, was to remember the masculine and feminine within us, use both teachings, use both playing fields to unify them, to bring them all together to one coherent, universal, I'm hearing alliance, universal code, but it's like the codex of birth. It was the divinity. It was who we were meant to be, designed to be when we came here in the fall, and we just had to remember and come back up. But if the teachings were put there for us to live the experience, to walk through the emotion being the code, the emotion being the teachings, think of what a beautiful gift that is when we allow ourselves to feel again. Yeah, just feeling whole and complete, alive, knowing our worth. We are so worthy of this. Like, this is incredible. And two, The teachings, when I allowed myself to sit with my guilt and my shame, when I allowed myself to sit without how I had witnessed judgment among others and within myself, when I allowed myself to sit with fear, the witnessing fear in others, witnessing fear within myself, witnessing self-doubt, witnessing attachment, witnessing avoidance, witnessing all of it without judgment as just the observer, every single one of those playing fields that I was sitting with brought me to my knees, because the feeling is otherworldly. The feeling is something that we had disconnected ourselves so far from, because the feeling alive again can be daunting. I can just speak honestly, I numbed myself through alcohol and through avoidance, through shopping, through phoning a friend. That was my avoidance technique. But then the attachment side of me wanted to so desperately connect with somebody, but I was so afraid to connect with people because I knew that if I began being honest, I would cry. And so once I allowed both versions of myself to be seen and heard and loved and felt and nourished and supported, we just closed the gap. We just closed the gap. But it is extremely humbling. And it is in the humbling where every knee shall bow, and you are on your knees. Some of it's not even, you don't even make a choice to get on your knees. It is like your whole spirit being essence pulls you to your knees, because the weight of what you felt is so immense that once you decide to let it go and you cry the tears that are honored with love and you allow yourself to release it, it does humble you. It absolutely humbles you. But it also brings more compassion and resilience and honor and courage and bravery and grace, so much grace and tenderness and love and support. But it also, in the spaces where we did need the grace and the tenderness, it also taught us our fierceness and our strength and our ability to stand sovereign in our power and know it without having to perform or put out any display. It just is so ingrained in the being and the glory that we are, that there's no more need to do anything. It just is. And I've spoken about it before, but this is just miraculous. Wow. So is there anything else? Okay. I think we've covered it, I hear. So thank you for being here, for listening, for liking, sharing, commenting. The last post that I didn't actually do a thumbnail, and I might not do it with this one as well. Your support is incredibly helpful. I've received one donation from somebody, but being able to talk about this, being able to talk about the monetary aspect, but just knowing that asking it is given, and I'm now open to receive. There's nothing else that's stopping, because that block has been removed. So there's nothing else that's stopping from the receiving. And I think me just being so completely honest that for those of us that are choosing to show up in faith, in hope, living on a prayer, to be the leaders and the way showers of this new essence of our being in truth and in love and in community, doesn't matter how, even if community makes you want to cringe, you can still be here in this community without actually stepping out of your house to be in a life community. However, little by little, you'll start going, okay, well, now that I've connected here, now I want to actually connect to someone out in the real world. And it's little baby steps. And so once again, I always say, honor your intuition, honor the small whispers that you hear, honor what you know exactly, what that whisper, what your intuition, what that excitement spark of what you know you need to do. When we start really listening there, everything works out, because your soul is not going to steer you wrong. Your soul is going to give you exactly what you need to build the foundational everything, and then to continue building yourself up to completion. And remembering that we are, and remembering the versions of us that we could have potentially left behind, remembering the scattered version of us and saying, hey, we are not, that is the old system, and we're not there anymore. We are love. We are in the land of the living, in love. And so thank you for your likes, your shares, your comments. Thank you for your support. If you feel inspired to sow a seed of abundance, it is tenfold, it will return to you. And I've had to sit with that the other day, that every time I've given a gift, if I knew that the $1, that 10% of that $1 would come back to me, and it could even be more by now. I think it's probably more. What if it's 100% of what we give comes back to us? And I had to really sit with that truth of, oh my gosh, that's a lot. That's a lot that I have given through my entire life, through monetary support, through gifts of love, I feel inspired sometimes to just go give people cash. I don't know why, but I just listen. I've always just listened. Even though it doesn't really make sense, but I trust. And so if you think about that and sowing a seed of abundance, and how if the money, the abundance, like I said, if it's a win-win and the people that actually care to look after the people have the abundance, think about how that world would change. So I'm here ready to receive, wide open. So if you would like to sow a seed of abundance, you can do so in the links below. It is never an obligation, and it is never, I'm speaking this out of my truth. So if it makes you feel a certain way, that is never my intention. But my intention is to be honest and forthcoming with my truth, to help encourage you to be honest and forthcoming with your truth in a way that you choose to really listen to that still small voice within. And yeah, if you would like to support my work and mission, the links will be below. You can also support with purchasing my artworks. I am looking to do a solo show in the Kansas City, Lee Summit area. And I will definitely have multiple showings over the next, couple of years. And so that will be a beautiful way to support me. If you would like to have a group where you all come together, I'm looking to see if there's anything that I've forgotten. If there's a group that you would like to get together, we can do that as well. I'm kind of tailoring away from doing one-on-ones for now, just because I do want to help the masses. And I know that a platform where you can pay a monthly subscription and then I just do what I do, that way I can help more people, would be just a blessing. So we are working on that right now. What else? Visit my website, withinbyjen.com. A lot of times, because YouTube won't recognize the links, it is withinbyjen.com. And you can follow me on my social media links, Jennifer Renee, only one E, or Renee Jennifer Within by Jen. Typically, if you Google search that, the links will pop up. What else? No, I just thank you. I thank you all for being here and for being you and for helping me be in this mission and in this reality of mine, and helping support the work and the mission to be the change, to give back to those who care, to give back to the caregivers, to give back to the people that want to teach, that want to lead with compassion, that want to lead with integrity, that want to lead in honor and truth, and to build our world around that space. And it takes us all. And I thank you so very much. I'm Jennifer Renee. This is Within by Jen. It's within each and every one of us. It always, always has been. I love you very much, and I will see you in the next video. Mwah.